Welcome back to another week of sandwiches and salads from the 1920s. As you can see, this is not my kitchen. That is because our family decided to let Christmas come a little bit early this year, and our Christmas gift was them taking us to Hilton Head Island. So we are on vacation right now, and while they are at the beach fishing and soaking up the rays, I thought it might be kind of fun to try and make some of these recipes in this kitchen here. Now, it's gonna be a lot of a challenge because I do not have any of my food that I normally have at home. Usually my spices and different things, I can just kind of pull them out of the cupboard. I don't have to worry about that. And I know where everything in the kitchen is. I have all of the utensils and the kitchen equipment that I normally use. And here I am kind of just bound to what they have. It'll make it a challenge, but it'll make it a little bit fun. Why not? Also, it's a beautiful kitchen. It's a wonderful space in here, so I guess let's take advantage of it. Before we get started though, we are on vacation, so let's go ahead and make a drink so that I can show off the bar in here. Look at how cool this door is. It has like a whole porthole kind of thing. These shutters or doors even come across, and I kind of want to do a dramatic reveal where I open this up, but I don't want to take all the stuff off the counter, so I'm not going to do that. We're going to go with mimosas this morning, and I don't have the glasses here that normally I would for mimosas. They do have a good selection of all sorts of random different things, but they don't have the glasses that I would normally use. So we're just going to go with these Stella glasses. Excuse me. Oh, hello there. We're gonna go with a mango mimosa. I've got some mango nectar here. I feel like a very fancy bartender. That would be a cool series, cocktails and craft drinks or things from the 1920s, but I would not be a good host for that because honestly, I really do not like the flavor or the taste of alcohol. If I'm going to have a drink, I want it to taste as close to juice as possible. Something like a really high quality cocktail, I'm gonna taste the alcohol and I'm not gonna appreciate it the way that it deserves to be appreciated. Even my mimosa, I have more of a sweet, sparkling wine. I have a nice cheap bottle of Andre Spumante. Couldn't go with a dry. Couldn't do it. And I have mango nectar along with it. I feel like this is probably even sweeter than one of those wine coolers that you used to drink back in the day before you became of age to actually drink, or like, anybody remember Mad Dog? Mad Dog 2020. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but that's what we called it. And it came in those crazy, like really pretty neon colors. It was delicious, but you woke up in the morning and you knew you hadn't drank juice. Cheers, my friends. Let's go get cooking. Oh, hey, wait. Before we get started with that, do you guys want to see the view from our balcony? I hope so, because I actually wasn't giving you the choice. I really just want to show it off. So if you said no and you don't want to look at it, just skip ahead to the cooking. But come with me. Okay. This door is very heavy. I know that's kind of out of place there, but we went thrift shopping yesterday because I can't go anywhere without finding the thrift store. And I found a set of tweed Skyway luggage, a 5-piece set. The code was locked and we didn't have the code, so we spent yesterday just going through. I don't even know how long it took. I mean, not that long. It's only 3 numbers, but it took us a while to get that unlocked, so now we're just kind of airing it out because it smells like basement. But look at this view. So I was editing last week's video here, the week before, I don't even know which one it was, but I was sitting here at this table and this is what I was looking at. Gorgeous. And that is Defusky right there. And then from here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not. You can't see it on the camera, but the lighthouse is right through there. You can see it when you're standing here or looking around the edge. When I am sitting here, just looking up. It's so beautiful. All right, back to work. For our cabbage carrot nut salad, which is pretty self-explanatory, we are just going to start chopping up this cabbage to make a cupful. And as I said before, I am used to my knives and cutting boards and everything at home. And the stuff in here is just an interesting mix. They have some of the worst, I shouldn't say the worst, these knives actually aren't terrible. They just are not for this purpose here. But the knives are not great. This cutting board has seen a lot of better days, but then they have all clad pots and pans. Just a big difference. I mean, maybe I got all of my all clad at auctions or at a thrift store. So maybe they got it at a really nice cheap price to put in a rental here. It doesn't say how big to chop these, so I guess I'm just gonna chop them into maybe bite-sized pieces. I love having my nails done, and I never do them anymore. I used to have them done all the time when I was teaching, but for this vacation I decided I didn't get them done, I just got some cheap press-ons, but now that they're sticking out like this, I'm having trouble gripping and tucking my fingers in to chop this. I regret getting these nails on. All right, to make a cupful. I actually don't think they have measuring equipment in here, at least not that I saw. So I'm just gonna go with this much. Now it says to put it in boiling water first, and then after it's boiled for a few moments, put it in with ice water, and that way it will crisp it up. So let's go ahead and do that. I lied. I found measuring cups in the back of a drawer. So I am glad that I did, because 1 cup is definitely way less than what I was estimating. I'm gonna put that in there. Let it go for a moment, and then we will drain it quickly. That's not very much cabbage. Got a little piece still in there. Get it into our ice water. While that cools for like the next hour or so, we are going to grate a medium carrot. I'm gonna start with this end. And we have this here, little grater thing. I'm just gonna, oh, this is terrible. All right, this is gonna take a while. I'll be back when this is done. We have our carrots grated over there. Now it wants us to chop up a cup of peanuts. I feel like this would be much easier just to put them in something and smash them, but we're gonna go ahead and chop them. And again, this is gonna take a minute. I'll be right back. We're going to get this salad put together first before we start the sandwiches. And that is because the sandwiches call for them to be served while the chocolate is still warm and melted. So I don't want to be messing around with the salad and trying to film and set up shots and things, and then the sandwich gets cold or the chocolate starts to harden. And we will talk a little bit more about that recipe in a minute, because there are some things that I realized afterward we may need to adjust for. We'll go back to that in a minute. For the salad, we are to sprinkle these peanuts over, and it seems to me that the amount of peanuts compared to the amount of vegetable here is just humongous. It says to hand chop half a cup of peanuts. Now, here is my question for this, because it doesn't say, was it half a cup to start and then you chop, Was it half a cup of chopped? Was it half a cup of raw peanuts still in the shell and then you shell them and then there's not very many? I don't know, but this just seems like way, way too many peanuts. Let's just sprinkle over top and see, I guess, when it seems like it's getting to be a bit ridiculous. I mean, that seems like a lot already. Well, I mean, we have them chopped here. We might as well just put them on. Seems like way more than a half a cup, but I measured half a cup. Oh, that looks ridiculous. You can't even see how pretty the vegetable color is underneath. Thankfully, I still have some of that, a lot of that boiled dressing that we made a couple weeks ago for another recipe. So I just brought that down with us and we're gonna use that for this. That looks about right. I actually don't know if that looks about right, but we're gonna say it does. And now I'm gonna just set this in the refrigerator and let it stay cool as we work on, whoop, almost dropped that dressing, as we work on our sandwiches. The issue I found with this recipe, and I actually did decide to look it up. Normally, I just kind of read the recipe and go with how I interpret it. I don't do a lot of research in between because I'm trying to make this as authentic as possible, and if it were me doing it not on film, I wouldn't be researching anything. I would just go with what it felt like and I would move on. But this time I did because because the recipe measurement that it calls for is 2 cakes of unsweetened chocolate. And in my mind, I thought, okay, 2 of those little squares. And then I started looking at the rest, like the tablespoons of butter and water and the 1/4 cup of sugar and nuts. And I thought, there's no way it means just 2 little squares. So I Googled what a cake was in 1920, and everything, there seems to be some confusion, but the consensus seems to be, and what makes sense for the rest of the measurements, is that a cake was a bar. And up until 2013, I believe, is what I read, these bars were 8 ounces. They switched in 2013 to 4-ounce bars. So we should have, for this recipe, probably 16 ounces of chocolate, and I have 4. And I am not going back to the store to buy more for this. So what we have to do is just cut everything in a quarter, which will be a little bit difficult when it comes to a 1/4 cup, and also for 2 tablespoons. So we are just going to do the best we can. I have, is it a half a tablespoon maybe, or 1 tablespoon, I forget, I just calculated it, of the chopped peanuts and the sugar. And then I have the butter here and the water, and I have my, what is this one? A half a tablespoon, because there are no tablespoon measuring spoons here that I could find. So I have my makeshift double boiler here going. We have our 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, and then I am just gonna get started with that. I do think Baker's chocolate is so cute. They put all of those little decorations on the front. I think it's really sweet. It makes baking even more fun. I guess I shouldn't say we're not baking, and I shouldn't say more fun, because I don't actually think baking is fun. I hate baking, but this makes it a little bit more bearable. Oh, these are 1/4 ounce squares. Somebody said the squares used to be 1 ounce, but then they changed them to a half an ounce, but these are 1/4 ounces. It seems like since, 100 years ago, things seem to have gotten a lot bigger portion-wise in most things, but it appears cocoa is one of the things that has gotten much smaller. I wonder if that is for measurement's sake, like different recipe types that we're doing now, or if it's because of the prevalence of not being able to find cocoa as much, or the more rarity of cocoa, I don't know. But I have it in here, I'll show you as it starts to melt down. We're starting to melt down there. I will get the water and the butter. Something that I think, or I found odd in here, and maybe it's because I don't know enough, but from my recollection, when you add water to chocolate, typically it makes it seize up. So I don't know about adding this, but maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about. But get that added in. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's mixing that well. It seems like it's, oh, okay, never mind. No, I don't know. What do I know? It seems like it's getting all weird. It is, yes, it's seizing up. It's getting weird in there. Let's get the butter in there. Okay. I'm just going by 1 tablespoon. That's about a half, and that's about half of a half. I hope that's right. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but like there and there, it's seized up the chocolate from the water. Maybe the fat in the butter will help. This also is in a great double boiler. You can kind of see how it's going in there. Right now, not well, in my opinion, but we're gonna trust the process. All right, this might take a few more minutes, so I'll be back when it's ready. It actually came together okay there. We're pretty much melted. Now we're gonna add our sugar and our peanuts. I believe it's a tablespoon of each. Whatever the recipe says, divide it by 4. That's how much is in here. It looks like it is pretty much done. It's still warm and melty. I don't know about that water. I don't think we should have added the water. Maybe a little extra butter or something if they wanted it to be smoother, but I don't think water was the right move. But I'm not the expert. So we have our white bread here, and again, if this is your first time, here I am using gluten-free bread, and it certainly is not going to taste quite as good as regular bread. However, I would like to remain a little less joint painy, so we're going with the Char Artisan Baker white bread. So I apologize for some of the background noise. There's a lot of construction going on here, but how could we eat inside when we have this view out here? Now, I'm going to actually, normally I would say I'd start with this chocolate sandwich here. You see it just kind of gooping out the sides. It definitely looks like chocolate. But I don't think I want to go from sweet chocolate into cabbage and mayo salad. So we are going to start with the salad. I think the salad could be prettier if there weren't as many of these peanuts on there. And I don't know if that was user error for me or if that was, you know, just miscalculation. It smells pretty good. It smells like veggies. I can't say that I have ever had cabbage and carrots with peanuts before that I'm recalling. Let's try it out. That's pretty nice. Everything is a little bit sweet. The carrots are a little sweet. The peanuts even have a little sweetness to them. And that boiled dressing has that sweet vinegar flavor. Everything in this goes together really well. What I want to do is mix it all together, kind of like maybe a coleslaw, and maybe this is like a precursor to coleslaw. I feel like we said that a lot. There have been several cabbage salads with like a boiled dressing or mayonnaise type thing, and it definitely feels like it's closer to maybe a precursor to coleslaw there. But I would say if somebody served this to me, I probably wouldn't make it again myself, just because this isn't the type of food I normally go to immediately. But if somebody served this to me, I would be really happy with it. Before I continue, I know you all are just so curious about my dress. I'm sure you've been so distracted this whole entire video because I haven't told you about this dress, unless I have in previous videos. I don't remember wearing it then, but this dress that I'm wearing today has a matching shirt for Mr. Vintage Dietitian that he has worn a few times while I wear this. And this matching set was made by Nani, my grandmother, my best friend. She made this dress and the matching shirt for herself and my grandpa back in the day. I assume late 60s, maybe early 70s, and they wore it together. And then she gifted it to me and my husband. So now we wear them together, and every time I send her photos and It just feels really special to be able to have something that she made with her own hands and that she wore with her husband in her marriage. She was born in 1937. Yes, 1937 she was born. So I know it's a little bit older and it was made in the 60s or 70s, so it's definitely older than the 1920s, but just to have a piece of that history that I can wear while I am making something from history as well, just it feels really special. I really like it. And on to our sandwich. Now, if you ask me, do I want a chocolate sandwich for lunch? I don't know. Do I want $1 million in my pocket? Do I want, I don't know, just something phenomenal? Who doesn't want to eat chocolate all the time? I know some of you out there don't like chocolate, I understand, but come on now. This is like if a child, like a second grader, made the lunch menu, what would you want? A chocolate sandwich? This is gonna get so messy. It smells so good. Wow. Okay, that's not what I was expecting. I know there wasn't a lot of sugar in there, but I thought there would be enough to at least sweeten it a little bit. This is very bitter. It's good. It tastes like just unsweetened chocolate. I don't know, I think I got a peanut in there because I could feel the crunch, but I didn't taste the peanut through the bitterness of the chocolate. And it's also very, very dry. I'm still trying to swallow through it. And I think a little bit of that has to do with the gluten-free bread. But also, even if we had regular bread, I think it would be really hard to chew through this. Maybe we were supposed to let this sit and it was supposed to get hard, and maybe that would change the moisture content a little bit. Maybe it would make it easier to chew and swallow, but man, that was rough to chew and swallow and get through. And I am still pretty young with full swallowing capabilities, so if you had trouble swallowing, this is not the sandwich for you. Also, if you were expecting a sweet chocolate sandwich, this is not the sandwich for you. I'll say the flavor is not bad. I really like that the bitterness is kind of good. And in my head I was thinking, who would have imagined that the cabbage salad would be sweeter than the chocolate sandwich, but it certainly is. I'll say so far, this is the most unexpected flavor that I have had. My expectation was like, you say chocolate and my mind goes to like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, something with a little bit of sweetness. Definitely not that. And I really do think that unless there was a difference in, maybe I got the cake measurements wrong, maybe I should have doubled the amount of sugar, but even if I would have doubled the amount of sugar, I still think it would have been pretty bitter. Overall though, pretty good. I wouldn't make this chocolate sandwich again, but I would definitely have, maybe not make it for myself, but I would definitely eat that cabbage and carrot salad again. Now, next week we will be back, more than likely in my kitchen, unless I have some unexpected trip that I go on that I wasn't planning on, hence unexpected, I suppose. If there are certain types of salads or sandwiches that you know are in this book, if you have this book at home or you have similar recipe books at home and there's something you want to see made, let me know. Leave a comment below, send me a private message, email me, join the Facebook group, message us there or put it out there. And I will try to cater to what you are looking for. Otherwise, I'm just kind of going through and picking random things out of the list of each month and going with what kind of seems fun to do at the time. Now, some of you have asked me before, are these paired together? Like, does the book give a pairing? It does not. It just gives like a list of maybe 5 to 15 salads at the front and 5 to 10 or 15 sandwiches at the back, and then you pick and choose and mix and match however you want to, which is what I've been doing. If I'm being honest, I've kind of picked some of the ones that are a little more simple than the others because that's how I like to cook, very simply. I don't do a lot of complicated things if I don't have to. Those are the ones I'm picking out. If there's something that you know that's a little more complicated and you really want to see it, let me know and I will make it. In the meantime, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining me and enjoying this little bit of paradise. Bye guys.